Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is the Garage Autonomist again. So I wanted to talk about something that's really been bothering me a lot lately. This is a really backwards idea. You hear it repeated over and over again by the black patriarchs of YouTube. It seems to be that the only way to fix the black community's ills is for us to rely heavily on dick and pussy. Apparently, the idea of aping the nuclear family structure as we know it is the basis or the platform on which a lot of the black patriarchs, whether they are the black nationalist types or whether they're the black patriarchs that want to regurgitate or reenact the white supremacist power structure, it seems to be that that's their idea of being able to fix problems that we have in this community, which is ridiculous because history has shown us if you truly want an effective movement that will counter police brutality, that will counter the economic apartheid, that will counter the authoritarian grip that is on not only our communities but our entire diaspora, then the only way it's going to happen is when black folks are shoulder to shoulder, regardless of gender, and rolling up their sleeves and actually doing the work. The perfect example of that was the Black Panther Party. Despite my own politics and ideologies, being a libertarian socialist, I can do a whole separate episode of my critique of the Black Panther Party in terms of its faults and its strengths. But one thing that cannot be denied was the work that they had done in black autonomy, the breakfast and lunch programs for the children, after-school programs, self-defense. All of these things were not the stuffs of black liberalism, nor was it the zero program of black conservatism or the black nationalists. Not everybody was paired up as couples. There was no real strong emphasis on trying to create this nuclear family as the basis of black liberation. It was simply about black men and black women becoming comrades and working together to overthrow capitalism. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, the Black Panther Party were targeted. Every other movement and trend of the 60s can still be found today. In other words, they were able to survive because they simply were not a threat. When you want to talk about aping Western civilization and culture, but simply making it more of a black version of it, like say what the black nationalists like to do, well, that's the reason why they're still around. When you want to just talk about fixating on early Egyptian history, such as the Hoteps do, that is why they are still around. I'm bringing all this up because there's a particular YouTuber. Now I'm bringing all this up because there's a particular YouTuber who's had a channel or channels because he's been flagged and shut down in the past. This guy's been around since 2007. Back during his heyday, I wasn't really listening to him all that much, but he was definitely part of what I like to call the black gender wars of YouTube. And he was one of the most highly listened to. I only wanted to listen to the videos that he did on current events happening in the black community. And in this case, it would be the Black Lives Matter movement. And I was very interested in hearing his critique, not because I was going to be surprised in any way, which I was not, but he raises a critique why black men are not taking their rightful place as the great patriarchs of our diaspora and therefore moving it forward. His reaction to the Black Lives Matter movement: how is it that a bunch of women are running it? And how is it that a bunch of queer women are running it? And how much of a bunch of fat, unattractive black women, his words, are running it? And how come a bunch of black gay men are running it? In other words, we as black men have failed to be leaders, and suddenly these women have risen. These women and queer people have rose up to represent us. Well, I'll tell you the reason why. Because while you all are sitting around waiting for some big long line of ass kiss and suck dick from the entire diaspora, and then therefore followed by a ceremonial signing of a social contract where we as black straight men should be the only ones to do, say, or these people who you reject, these people who you hate, these people who you want to suppress, these people who you want to control within our community simply took leadership. It's just that fucking simple. And basically everything that any one of you guys have to say about the Black Lives Matter movement is nothing but fucking sour grapes. If you truly wanted to be the leaders that you want to be, well then guess what? You need to do that. Every time you hear these guys talk, about what's wrong with the black community, it's funny that none of them ever present an argument or a platform of solutions, which should be, of course, them taking power, yes? But they're not doing that. They don't work together. They don't really work with each other. I mean, hell, if YouTube is to be an indication of these men's failure, it would show you that none of them even unite or agree with one another unless they are the one who is the head nigger in charge. That's the mindset that they have. How many times do you hear these dudes say, hey, I agree with Tariq Nasheed, but, or I agree with David Carroll, but, because somewhere down the line they're going to disagree with each other on some hair splitting, and then they don't unite and work with one another. This is just an observation, by the way. It's not really a critique. In my opinion, when I critique anything or anyone, it's because I see a value in it, and therefore I want to see it move forward and just get better based on my criticisms. These dudes, on the other hand, it's just an observation. I wouldn't organize a goddamn tea party with these motherfuckers. But would I work with and organize with Black Lives Matter? It's interesting because I never participated in most of their actions because I just unfortunately just don't have the time like I used to when I was a young activist. And I do think that in the face of the elections, they've made some really questionable positions, so much so that there was even a split in the movement. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point here is that if the black community is to move forward, it needs to be a formation of comradeship. And in other words, it's not about dick and pussy coming together and making children. It should be about black men, black women, queer black men, lesbian black women, old people, young people, straight women, everybody coming together and moving the fuck forward. All right? That's what it comes down to. We have the historical model. We need to follow that model again, just with different people, and we need to learn the mistakes of the past in order to move forward. All right. Until next time.